a major class action lawsuit against the big tech giants, including Facebook, Google, and Twitter. We're demanding an end to the shadow banning, a stop to the silencing, and a stop to the blacklisting, banishing, and canceling that you know so well. There is no better evidence that big tech is out of control than the fact that they banned the sitting president of the United States earlier this year. If they can do it to me, they can do it to anyone.
That is former President Trump taking on big tech with a class action lawsuit, accusing the companies and their CEOs of censorship and silencing free speech.
Here to react, biotech entrepreneur and author of the upcoming book, Woke Inc., Vivek Ramaswamy. Vivek, thanks so much for being here this morning. So the president announced this big class action lawsuit. He's been banned from social media. What will be the effect of this, do you think?
So I think if this case is argued in the right way, it has the potential to go all the way to the Supreme Court and potentially be one of the defining cases of our time. Because the conventional wisdom says that these are private companies, and of course somebody couldn't bring a suit like this. But the heart of the legal claim here is that these private companies are not actually acting as private companies. They are acting on behalf of the federal government, and they are protected by the federal government in the form of Section 230C2 when they do it. So that's the heart of this argument, which is what makes this case different than when normal private companies behave as private companies.
That's interesting, because they're protected, because they're involved with the government. That would be your argument?
Exactly. Exactly. So there's two prongs to the argument. I've seen that Trump, based on what I saw yesterday, they're making one of the prongs pretty strongly. I think they should make both prongs strongly if they take this case to the Supreme Court. The two prongs are this. One is basically that I'd like to see them argue that they're responding to government threats, because congressional Democrats and senators have threatened these companies to say that if you don't take down hate speech or misinformation, as we, the party in power, define it, then we're going to come after you and we're going to penalize you. So when a private party responds to a government threat, they're not actually acting as a private party. It's just the government acting in the clothing of private enterprise. And here, that same government has immunized these companies from liability in the form of Section 230. So it's a 1-2 punch, a carrot and stick approach. It's a novel legal argument, but these are also novel times. And we haven't seen in our history companies that act in concert with the government in the way that these social media companies do.
Don't you think it was noteworthy, too? I mean, this was all done. They were looking for an opportunity to try to control their number one customer, and that was Donald Trump. And we know the power that he had. But after they take him down, I heard we saw leaders around the world concerned that they did this, that these competitors, so-called competitors, combined to wipe him out and then destroy Parler, the up-and-coming competitor, the next day.
You're totally right, Brian. And the thing is, not only leaders around the world, I actually want to give credit to somebody who's far on the other side of this issue politically, is Bernie Sanders. He came out and said that he was concerned, irrespective of what he thought of Donald Trump, that no company in the United States should have the opportunity to silence any president, including the 45th president. And here's an easy way to think about it. Imagine the facts were reversed, and you have now a Republican-controlled White House, Senate, and Congress, and the same thing had happened in reverse to the outgoing president of the Democratic Party. Everyone who is making and singing the praises of private enterprises being able to make their decisions on the other side would be making precisely the opposite argument.
You know, one of my best friends wrote me on the 4th of July and said she posted "Freedom isn't free" with a picture, an American picture, and tagged Folds of Honor, and they wiped it out. They took it off her page. They wouldn't let her, and I think they slapped her on the wrist for a few days and wouldn't let her participate.
And private companies can threaten liberty just as much as the government. That's what we're seeing today.
That's exactly right. Vivek Ramaswamy, the book is Woke Inc. Thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.